In 2026, the marketplace for human attention has become nothing less than a full-scale cognitive battleground. Algorithms no longer wait for you to feel bored before pouncing. They anticipate boredom before you even experience it, optimizing every swipe, tap, and glance to extract your focus as quickly as possible. We live in what researchers call the attention economy, a system where attention is not a neutral resource but a scarce, contested commodity that platforms relentlessly compete for by constantly interrupting our awareness and steering it toward whatever yields the most engagement. Daily life for most people in 2026 now consists of living within a matrix of distraction, where push notifications, buzzing pings, and blinking alerts have become the default state of cognitive engagement. Our phones, laptops, and watches are optimized not to help us think more deeply, but to keep us perpetually reacting. Every notification is not a convenience. It's a hostile breach of your mental autonomy, tapping directly into the neural circuits that make you feel rewarded and pulling you away from sustained concentration. Each time your attention is fractured, it isn't just lost briefly. Studies show that after a digital interruption, it can take up to 23 minutes to truly regain focus on a task. What's happening behind the scenes is this. Technology companies have perfected the behavioral science of distraction. They understand that novelty, something new appearing in your feed, a red badge on an app icon, triggers dopamine responses in the brain. This dopamine hit is the same neurological push that once helped our ancestors survive by noticing threats in their environment. Today, that same system is exploited to keep you checking, scrolling, and clicking. Not because it serves your goals, but because your attention has become the product being bought and sold. Because of these engineered interruptions, people aren't just distracted occasionally. They are conditioned for what psychologists call continuous partial attention, a state where the mind is always dividing itself, never fully present. This mode of cognition might feel adaptive, but it carries a real cost: persistent stress, decreased working memory capacity, and diminished ability to reflect or think deeply about anything meaningful. The effects are visible everywhere. Recent data shows that billions of humans check their phones dozens of times per day, with many people checking their devices 50 times or more daily, even up to bedtime, creating cycles of stress, sleep disturbances, and decreased productivity. Every one of those pings activates your cognitive control network, pulling attention away from the task at hand and making sustained focus progressively harder to achieve. At its core, the attention economy has rewired our priorities without most of us noticing. Instead of controlling our devices, we have let devices control our attention. The result is a paradox. We are more connected than ever, yet our capacity for undistracted, meaningful cognitive work has frayed at the edges. This is no longer merely inconvenient. In an era of automated content generation, deep, prolonged focus has become the most valuable intellectual currency there is, a form of cognitive wealth that simply cannot be bought, only earned through disciplined resistance to distraction. Now compare this modern reality to an ancient philosophy developed over 2 millennia ago. Stoicism teaches that the only thing truly within your control is your own mind, your perceptions, judgments, and choices. What is within your control is your inner citadel, the fortress of attention and deliberation inside your consciousness. What's not within your control are the external events that bombard you. The tweets, the pings, the algorithmically engineered feeds competing for your gaze. The Stoics called this the dichotomy of control, a clear separation between what you can govern and what you cannot. When translated into the digital era, this ancient insight becomes a practical strategy. Identify each incoming notification not as a benign convenience, but as a potential attack on your cognitive sovereignty. When you treat every interruption as a decision point, an invitation to lose your focus, or a chance to assert control, you reclaim agency over your attention. Agency becomes an act of will, a constant choice to filter noise and preserve the conditions for deep work. The cost of losing this fight for focus is steep. In professional environments, data shows that interruptions can drastically reduce productivity, leading to hours of lost work per week and costing companies vast sums in unproductive labor. Even beyond economics, Fragmented attention hurts individuals' ability to think critically, create art, solve complicated problems, or simply engage deeply with life rather than skimming across its surface. To understand why every notification should be treated as a hostile breach, consider not only how often they occur, but also how they affect your brain's mechanisms for sustained focus. Directed attention, the cognitive process that allows you to inhibit distractions and focus on a demanding task, can become fatigued when overworked. When you are continually suppressing incoming stimuli, pings, banners, vibrations, you deplete your brain's ability to concentrate on what truly matters. Yet this crisis of attention is not a sign that focus is impossible. It's a signal that focus must be cultivated intentionally, not assumed as a default state. Recognizing the attention economy for what it is, a strategic contest between external forces vying for your mental energy, is the first step toward regaining command of your inner citadel. Every moment you spend reacting to a notification, scrolling without intention, or opening an app out of habit is a moment you surrender control. In the digital age, control over your attention is equivalent to control over your life's trajectory. Just as ancient Stoics like Epictetus taught that freedom comes from governing your own mind, modern digital Stoicism demands that we apply the same principles to our screens and devices. The fundamental idea is simple. You decide what deserves your focus and what does not. And this choice is the difference between being a master of your time and a servant to distraction. The next layer of this defense is understanding that every digital interruption is engineered to exploit psychological weaknesses. Social media platforms use predictive analytics to keep you engaged. From recommending content based on your micro-behaviors to timing notifications when your engagement is likely to peak. These algorithms are designed not to support your goals, but to maximize your dwell time, literally shaping your brain's reward system to prioritize trivial interactions over meaningful work. This is why turning off notifications or using app timers isn't just a convenience, it's an act of self-defense. The concept of intentional friction becomes a critical tool here. By introducing small obstacles to accessing apps, logging out after each session, using screen time limits, disabling autoplay, or even switching devices to grayscale, you force your mind to pause and decide consciously whether the distraction is worth your focus. These techniques align perfectly with Stoic reasoning. They externalize the discipline, transforming your environment to support deep attention rather than constantly undermining it. The stakes are higher than ever. In a world powered by automated content generation, where AI creates endless streams of videos, articles, and posts tailored to your interests, the ability to focus deeply is rare and therefore powerful. Those who can concentrate for hours, block out distractions, and produce meaningful work stand at a distinct advantage. Deep focus becomes a form of competitive leverage, giving you an edge not just in productivity, but in the cultivation of wisdom, skill, and creativity. Digital Stoicism also emphasizes perception as a tool for freedom. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." In modern terms, this means every push notification, every buzz, every pop-up is neutral in itself. It only becomes disruptive when you assign it power over your attention, recognizing that the hostile siege is merely an external stimulus that can be filtered, postponed, or ignored, allows you to maintain a calm and focused mental state, regardless of the chaos around you. Another core strategy is time structuring. Instead of scattering attention across dozens of microtasks and notifications, allocate deliberate blocks of deep work where interruptions are prohibited. Use rituals like scheduled check-ins, email batching, or focused deep sessions without devices within reach. These deliberate boundaries echo the Stoic practice of daily reflection and mindful presence, reinforcing the principle that your attention is your most valuable asset. The psychological impact of this practice is profound. As you reclaim control over when and how you engage with digital stimuli, the cognitive load of constant reorientation decreases. Your mind is no longer taxed by continual context switching, and your ability to sustain deep thought improves. Studies on focused work show that uninterrupted attention enhances memory consolidation, problem-solving ability, and creative output, the very traits that define high achievers in any field. Finally, the art of digital stoicism requires embracing a mindset of intentional detachment. Detachment here doesn't mean apathy or disengagement, rather, it means recognizing that external digital chaos does not determine your internal state. By practicing deliberate control over your attention, you cultivate resilience against stress, anxiety, and the compulsive behaviors that often accompany digital life. Your mental citadel becomes a space of clarity and calm, impervious to the barrage of external distractions, allowing you to operate with precision, purpose, and intentionality. This ongoing practice turns technology from a master into a tool. When every device interaction is intentional and every notification is filtered through the lens of cognitive sovereignty, you are no longer reacting to the world, you are shaping it through focused action. This is the essence of digital stoicism, reclaiming the battlefield of attention, protecting the sanctity of your deep focus, and transforming modern distractions into instruments of deliberate, empowered living. The practical application of digital stoicism extends beyond merely turning off notifications or limiting app use. It requires systematic redesign of your environment, habits, and routines. One of the first steps is to audit your digital inputs. Take stock of every app, social platform, and service you interact with, and ask a crucial question. Does this serve my goals, or does it merely hijack my attention? The answer should guide elimination or restructuring. Minimalism in digital consumption is not just aesthetic, it's cognitive triage, removing what is non-essential so your mind can focus on what is truly valuable. Next, intentional scheduling of digital interactions helps to establish firm boundaries. For example, check emails only during predefined periods, disable auto-refresh on feeds, and batch your social media interactions into limited sessions. This is consistent with the Stoic principle of treating external events as outside your control. You control your interaction timing, not the external stimuli themselves. By creating these temporal barriers, you introduce friction against compulsive behavior, forcing conscious engagement over mindless scrolling. Physical environment also plays a critical role in defending focus. Simple interventions, like placing your phone in another room, using website blockers, or dedicating a workspace free from digital temptations, significantly improve attention. Researchers show that out-of-sight devices reduce cognitive load, allowing the prefrontal cortex to maintain sustained attention and resist habitual impulses. This mirrors the Stoic practice of intentionality, shaping your surroundings to support virtue and reason, rather than letting them dictate your impulses. The next layer involves cognitive training. Techniques such as meditation, deep breathing, and reflective journaling help strengthen the mind's capacity for selective attention. Even short daily practices improve working memory and inhibitory control, allowing you to notice distractions without reacting. Marcus Aurelius emphasized the importance of mental rehearsal and reflection in the digital era. This translates to mental preparedness for resisting algorithmic hooks and maintaining deliberate focus. Equally important is cultivating value-based prioritization. Not all distractions are equal, and not all tasks are equally valuable. Digital stoicism encourages rigorous evaluation of where attention goes. High-value tasks receive protected, uninterrupted time, while low-value content is either eliminated or minimized. This echoes the Stoic dichotomy of control. You cannot control all digital stimuli, but you can control how you respond and what you prioritize. Another key strategy is building deep work rituals. By anchoring focus in repeatable routines, you train your brain to enter a state of intense concentration more efficiently. These rituals might include starting your day with the most cognitively demanding task, scheduling focus blocks in the morning when energy is highest, or using environmental cues like instrumental music or ambient noise to signal work mode. Over time, these rituals create neurological conditioning. Your mind recognizes these signals as an invitation to focus, reducing the impact of external distractions. Stoicism also teaches resilience against frustration, a skill crucial for maintaining focus in a noisy digital world. Interruptions will inevitably occur, and patience is required. The mind trained in Stoic practice recognizes that losing focus temporarily is not a failure but a test, a chance to reassert control with equanimity. By responding calmly, rather than reactively, you reinforce mental sovereignty and reduce the emotional cost of digital interruptions. One advanced strategy is batch processing of cognitive tasks. For example, instead of constantly checking messages throughout the day, set a single, designated period for communication. This reduces context switching, conserves mental energy, and allows for longer stretches of uninterrupted attention. Research shows that such batching increases productivity by 40–60%, highlighting that structured approaches to attention management are not just philosophical but scientifically grounded. The concept of attention debt is also useful. Each distraction or fragmented session accrues a form of cognitive liability, making subsequent tasks harder to focus on. Digital Stoicism teaches that consistently protecting attention acts as preventative maintenance, ensuring that mental resources remain available for creative work, problem-solving, and decision-making. Neglecting this leads to chronic cognitive depletion, stress, and a sense of mental fragmentation. Finally, embracing intentional reflection at the end of each day helps consolidate gains. Reflecting on how attention was spent, noting successful resistance to distractions, and planning improvements for tomorrow creates a feedback loop that strengthens cognitive discipline. This mirrors Stoic journaling practices, where daily reflection on actions and intentions fosters wisdom and self-mastery. Over time, these practices transform the mind from a reactive participant in the attention economy to a deliberate architect of focus. By integrating these strategies, environmental design, cognitive training, ritualized focus, value-based prioritization, and reflective practice, you establish a robust defense against the relentless onslaught of digital distraction. The modern battlefield is not physical but cognitive, and victory comes not from resisting technology outright but mastering the art of deliberate engagement. Every notification resisted, every focus block preserved, every moment of intentional work reinforces your inner citadel, making it impervious to external chaos. At this stage, digital Stoicism begins to manifest as a habitual way of life rather than a set of techniques. The disciplined mind does not merely react to distractions, it preempts them, establishing a buffer between stimulus and response. This is where the dichotomy of control becomes tangible. The external world will always generate noise, but you decide whether that noise gains access to your mental processing. By creating intentional boundaries, temporal, spatial, and cognitive, you transform your devices from relentless masters into precise tools that serve your purpose rather than hijack it. A critical component of this transformation is mindful consumption. Every piece of content, every article, every video should be approached with conscious intention. Ask yourself, does this expand my knowledge, enhance my skills, or contribute meaningfully to my goals? If not, it is noise, and every moment spent in noise is a moment not invested in cultivating mastery. This mirrors the Stoic focus on virtue. Attention is a moral resource because it shapes thought, action, and ultimately character. Another layer of resilience comes from embracing digital fasting. Periodically disconnecting from social media, email, or even your smartphone allows the mind to recharge its attentional capacity. Analogous to physical fasting, these intervals of absence sharpen focus, heighten awareness, and increase appreciation for undistracted engagement. Studies show that short-term abstinence from digital input reduces stress hormones, improves mood, and enhances cognitive performance, reinforcing the Stoic principle that freedom is exercised through self-restraint. Digital Stoicism also emphasizes reflection on outcomes rather than reactions. Instead of dwelling on the frustration of interruptions, the focus shifts to deliberate evaluation. What was learned? How was attention preserved? How can next time be improved? This reflective habit strengthens metacognition, the ability to think about thinking, allowing for more sophisticated strategies to defend focus and harness productivity. Importantly, this philosophy is scalable across all aspects of life. Whether writing a book, designing a business strategy, practicing a skill, or simply engaging in meaningful conversation, the same principles apply. Guard your attention, structure your environment, schedule your focus, and approach every interaction with intention. The mind trained in digital Stoicism recognizes that every moment of undistracted attention compounds, producing exponential benefits over time in both personal growth and professional capability. A modern Stoic practitioner also leverages technology as a tool rather than a stimulus. For example, task management apps, calendar reminders, and focus-enhancing software can support deliberate workflows without generating compulsive engagement. When selected and configured intentionally, technology becomes an extension of disciplined cognition rather than a source of fragmentation. The principle is clear. The device is subservient. Your attention is sovereign. Social context is another dimension. Digital Stoicism encourages mindful interaction with communities, both online and offline. While connectivity can enrich life, it also introduces potential distractions and emotional volatility. By choosing interactions intentionally, prioritizing depth over breadth, meaningful discourse over endless scroll, you preserve attention while maintaining social engagement. In Stoic terms, you cultivate relationships without surrendering your inner tranquility. The benefits of this disciplined approach are profound. Cognitive clarity allows for better decision-making, creative insight, and emotional resilience. By reclaiming focus, individuals are able to produce work of higher quality, solve complex problems more efficiently, and maintain a sense of calm even amidst digital chaos. Attention becomes an asset that compounds, shaping outcomes far beyond the immediate moment. In summary, the modern battlefield is one of attention, not time. Notifications, pings, and algorithmic feeds are designed to erode focus, but through digital Stoicism, we reclaim authority over our cognitive resources. Every distraction resisted, every moment of deliberate focus preserved, strengthens the inner citadel. By aligning daily practice with the ancient Stoic principles of control, reflection, and intentionality, we create a resilient mind capable of deep work, creative mastery, and sustained calm. Ultimately, digital Stoicism is not merely a survival strategy in the attention economy. It is a way of flourishing. By recognizing that your mind is your most precious asset and treating it with the respect, structure, and discipline it deserves, you achieve freedom. Freedom from compulsive distraction, freedom from the tyranny of constant stimulation, and freedom to live intentionally, think deeply, and act decisively. In a world drowning in digital chaos, the power to focus becomes a superpower, and the art of digital Stoicism is the blueprint for wielding it.